Hello friends, it's Laura from Cool Mom and Collected. I had my fifth baby 9 months ago. I realized I haven't given her birth story. This one came with a twist at the end, which I'm gonna share with you guys. But the reason I find this one is especially important to share is because it didn't all go as I planned in the healing process. And I just feel like even in those moments, I wanna say God is good. Even in those moments where things don't go completely as planned, God is good, and he has been good. And so I want to share this with you guys, and I'm just going to let little girl sleep while I do it. Basically, little girl came on her due date. So the night before my due date, think around, I don't know, it was probably 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I was getting ready to go to bed because my husband fell asleep on the couch. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but whenever I'm pregnant and I'm getting really close to birth, I do get anxious at night. And I do need to pray to the Father to not make me anxious, to give me peace and help me to just like trust in him, because I'm the type that goes into labor always at night. I don't know why. But I guess it's when my body's most relaxed. And so when I saw my husband sleeping on the couch, I got super anxious and was like, I need to go to bed right now, because what if it is the night? I can't be the one that's up last, so I need to go to bed. I get my husband in bed, get myself in bed, lay down my head, and my 5-year-old has a night terror. To get up, I'm like, oh my gosh, of course, like I'm already really nervous, but okay. I go to my 5-year-old, thank God I was able to calm her and get back into bed. I kid you not, the second, so the night before my due date, the second I put my head on the pillow, contraction. My first contraction, but not just any contraction, back labor. And if you guys know me, and if this is the 5th birth story of mine on YouTube that you're watching, you know that every time I have back labor, it's the real deal. There's no maybe, it's like, okay, this is it. And sure enough, I literally started shaking. The second I got back labor, my hands started shaking and my thighs started shaking because they're like, it's time. I called my mom and I said, Mom, I don't know for sure, but I do just want you to be aware I'm possibly going into labor, because you know what happens when I get this back labor. So my mom was like, oh my gosh, okay, let me know. I'll stay on standby. And that felt great. Then I called my midwife, and she was only about 15 minutes away, but you know, she told me, keep an eye on your contractions, get down to like 5 minutes apart. My last birth was an unexpected home birth. Unexpected, because I expected to get to the hospital, and I had a home birth unexpectedly on my RV bathroom floor. We were living in an RV full time at that point. Humble beginnings, as my husband says. I was kind of like, okay, I know that this is it, but let me just give her a heads up. Maybe I'm not right, whatever, second guessing myself. My prayer with this birth, my prayer was to just worship God through my labor. My goal was to be so busy worshiping God, so distracted by worship, that it would bring me through my entire labor. And that actually happened. It was really amazing, but I'll get there. This time was the first time that I said, I'm going to have a home birth. I'm going to have an actual planned home birth, and I'm going to try to give birth in the water. So this is all new. I didn't research. All I knew about water was my midwife was like, it's going to really help you. So I was like, okay, let's do this. My midwife said last time, you gave birth in an hour, start to finish. You need to set that pool up as soon as this happens. So I got to my husband and I was like, hey, babe, I'm going into labor. And I kid you not, he rolled over in bed. He's a deep sleeper. Rolled over in bed and he goes, oh, okay, babe, we better get her rest then. Come on, let's cuddle. I was like, oh, no. Baby. I was like, listen, you don't understand. Stay with me. I'm going to give birth and I need you conscious, okay? I said, the midwife said, as soon as I'm about to give, like as soon as I get my first contraction, you need to be setting up the pool, like ASAP. So thank God, as soon as I said that, it really clicked. He realized, okay, this girl's serious. And he got up and he started filling up the pool. Now I had so much preparation into what I wanted labor at home to look like. And I'm so glad that I did that. I actually had a whole list that I made for myself so that I wouldn't be frazzled to follow. everything that I needed to do. I'm pretty sure I have that list in a blog post, and I'll link it down below. I also had a letter that I wrote to myself. I will link more about that down below as well. But I had a letter that I wrote to myself the second I go into contractions to really just ground myself, because I knew there's a chance my husband would be sleeping, and I knew there's a chance that I would feel alone in that very first start, like many moms do. No matter how much support you have, when you get that first contraction, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm all alone, for a lot of people. For me, that's how I felt. And this letter was just such a beautiful reminder to me of how God is in control, what I need to focus on, what I need to forget not to do, and how I'm not alone and I've got this, you know? So that was excellent. I highly, highly recommend that. And like I said, I'll link all the birth related posts down below so that you guys can learn all about that. I go into my bathroom, just to give you an idea. I had the lights dim, I had my earbuds in, I had my prayer letter, I had my list of things to make sure I utilized. I did something different for the first time, which I loved. And that was, instead of just like massaging my own lower back, because I get terrible back labor, but I actually got jojoba oil, put it on my hands, and then massaged my back. I could not believe, how much more comfortable it was. If you guys are having your husband massage your back for labor and you're not using jojoba oil or some sort of oil, coconut, I don't care what you use, you are probably as bruised as I have been the past 4 births. Use the oil, put it on my back, and just massage myself. I swayed. I had a worship playlist, which I also have a blog post for that I'll put down below. I was just worshiping God, like hands in the air, big belly out. I was wearing postpartum diapers because, I didn't know if I was going to break my water. And I didn't know if my water was going to break, which it never has. I was just worshiping, and I had a comb that I was using to dig its teeth into right here, because if you'll see in my blog post, if you squeeze that, it's supposed to really help. It kind of like distracts from the pain in your back and the contractions, which, by the way, I never even let my mind hear or think or smell the word pain. I don't use it. I use discomfort. And if you guys are giving birth and you're saying, I'm in so much pain, you're already doing yourself a huge disservice. It's all about mental strength. And so I just encourage you, don't even acknowledge pain, acknowledge discomfort. Talk about discomfort all you want. Do not talk about pain. So anyway, I'm really squeezing that comb, and honestly, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing it. I can do this. Father, you are so good. The worship music that I had was so like focused on him and not on me, that I was able to really remember who is in control, who I'm inviting in walking with me through this labor and birth. And I really believe that his spirit was with me, and I saw that, and how well I went through, like how in the zone I was. I also have to say that one of the most amazing things about a home birth, in distinction with my surprise home birth, which I didn't expect, and my rushings to the hospital, while I know it's completely possible to have great, beautiful, unmedicated births at the hospital, I know because I've done it 3 times, there is nothing like no rush. There is nothing like just knowing and trusting that you have everything that you need. You have the support that you've determined you need. You have the pool, you have the setup, you have everything that you need, and nowhere to go. I love that feeling. That was probably my favorite feeling from what I've experienced with past births. My favorite feeling was just knowing I have nowhere to go. I have nothing to do but worship. I have nothing to do but be home. I have nothing to do but focus on my breathing and all my affirmations. And I got blog posts about that too. You'll find down below. I knew I can do anything for 30 seconds. I can do anything for 30 seconds. I had my contraction timer. I had my water. The first thing that I do is grab my water, and all to say, it was just a beautiful time. I got to a point where I felt like, okay, it's getting intense, and so I'm going to go to the pool. Another fear of mine was like, I got this pool set up. What if I, fight against this idea that I'm anywhere close to labor, and then I end up birthing in my bathroom floor instead of utilizing this pool that I've been dreaming about, because I've heard such great things about. I called my midwife again, and I said, yes, this is definitely happening. I'm 5 minutes apart. I'm going to jump into the pool. And she was like, okay, I'll head on over. I had that out of my mind. Okay, she's on her way. Let me get in the pool. I get in the pool, and okay, here's where I want you guys to pay attention, because this is where Laura wasn't really thinking, and I didn't really get a heads up on this, and I wonder, am I the only one? It was nobody's fault, but like, I didn't think this through, and maybe this will help you guys. But we only filled the pool halfway. Our midwife, who we love, recommended not to fill it to the tippy top because she said, if you're in there for a while, what happens to a lot of moms is the water ends up getting cold and you can't fill it anymore because, you can't fill it anymore because you're already at the tippy top. Then you have to like bring water, people are slipping, all that stuff. So I thought that makes perfect sense. Okay, we won't fill it to the top, we'll only fill it halfway. Just give me a second, just one more moment. Why did I do that? I don't know why I did that, because it really didn't work. I'm losing light here, and I'm a natural light girl, so I'm going to keep it going quickly. Stay with me. So I get in, and my midwife sneaks in, and honestly, it's very peaceful. I take my AirPods out. We didn't want them to fall in the water, and we put on the TV, my worship playlist. So my husband was amazing. Basically, I'm sitting down. He's behind me, not in the pool, but on the other side, and he's just massaging my back every time I need it. And I was just so peaceful, like just still worshiping God, hi midwife, but just like not focused on her, focused on me 100%. It was awesome because at one point, I'd be like going through my contraction, and then my midwife maybe would ask me a question about like RV life, and I'd be like, oh yeah, we really had great adventures. I'd be talking, and they'd be like, by the way, honey, you need to go right now. And then I just like go back down and like, started to hear the moan. If you guys know the moan, you're getting close. So I was, doing the moan. I'm an alto, so it was very, very low. I will admit, this is where things kind of take a turn. I started realizing, oh my word, started second guessing myself. Like, I've never given birth in a pool before. Like, my standard awesome birth position is hands and knees, but like, how do I do this? And then it hit me. The water was not high enough, guys. The water was not high enough. My husband couldn't go anywhere. My midwife, I didn't want to teach her how to hook everything up. It was not good. I basically couldn't get under the water. I couldn't get under the water at all. I was in the water, but like my hoo-ha was basically not in the water. And I'm thinking, how am I going to give birth? Like the whole point of this is to get under the water. Well, my husband now is in front of the pool, and I'm like as low down as you can imagine. Think child's pose where your pelvis is like way down there, touching the ground. And I was just freaking out, kind of like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I need to push. It happened really quick. I felt like I needed to push, but baby was not able to come out. And I'm realizing it's because I was trying to get under the water so low, and it just wasn't engaging. Baby's head was probably trying to get out, but couldn't engage. And I felt like I was pushing. I felt the fetal ejection reflex where you are basically pushing baby out and your body can't stop. What ended up happening was my husband lifted me up. And as he lifted me up, baby's head for sure engaged, and baby was starting to come out. Now, during this time, just to set the mood, I'm basically doing my good old, help me, I need help. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me, I really need help. Help me, oh my gosh, baby, breathe with me. Figuring out how to breathe, doing all that. We're used to this. This is my 5th time. That's normal. But what wasn't normal was how deep of an position I was in, of a child's pose position. That was not normal. Normally you're on hands and knees, you're like squatting, but you're not like pelvis to the floor. So something was not right in that way. We lock and load, baby's head comes out. I'm able to push it through. It finally feels normal again. And before I know it, I feel her come out, all that relief. And I just see my baby still attached, floating underwater. My husband picked her up, put her on me, and her eyes were open. She was so peaceful. She did not cry. I think she felt like she was in the water, and she was just very peaceful. And my midwife was calm. I really appreciated that. She just rubbed her, and she started to cry. So that was awesome to hear her cry. We did not know, by the way, whether it was a boy or girl. And so we had our midwife videotape it, and we were like, okay, are we going to do this? Oh my gosh. Everyone had told us that it would be a boy. We're like, oh my gosh, okay, let's look. 1, 2, 3, we look. It's a girl. We could not believe it. Everybody had told us it was going to be a boy. I mean, I had strangers. I had the woman that patted me down before entering a hockey game, just like out of nowhere, giving her 2 cents. Oh, it's definitely a boy. I've never been wrong. Yeah, thanks for that, by the way. You were wrong. it. So we had our moment. It was beautiful. I didn't even tell my midwife that I thought that this was funny. The pool had nothing in it. It was beautiful, clear. I couldn't believe minimal blood, nothing. When I pushed my placenta out, my midwife picked it up and she was just like, oh wow, yeah, we just make sure that it's all intact and look like everything's here. But then she unfolded it and just put it in the water. It was like the Red Sea. It was like Moses or, you know, the magicians. Like it literally was like stark red, like just blood, just sitting in my own blood, holding the baby, covered in blood, confused, but it was all good. Anyway, I'm holding her, and my husband had already told my mom, get on your way. My mom was on her way, and I was like, you know what? I would love to stay in this water, but it's filled with blood, and my mom will have a heart attack if she comes in and sees me in a pool full of blood. So I got out, handed the baby to my husband after I got such good snuggles in. And I'm so thankful my midwife, never had this experience before, walked me to the shower, completely took care of me, helped me get my clothes off, helped me get into the shower. I was able to clean myself in my own shower. It was a thrill. Obviously, when I had my surprise home birth last time, we eventually went to the hospital. That was a whole crazy thing. You guys should watch that one after this. Here I showered in my own shower. I loved it. I then put on beautiful cozy pajamas and my diaper, and she walked me to my bed, and I was able to cuddle with my baby, and it was literally surreal, so amazing. I felt great. Even though pushing was the most painful thing ever out of all my births, that was great. Here's the crazy part. You know, with the whole pool thing, I felt I just didn't think I'd have to practice, but believe it or not, I wish that I had gotten the pool and practiced different positions. I just assumed like, it'll be fine, I'll wing it. And I wish I would never have done that. I wish that I had, you know, gotten in the pool and practiced, or at least felt it, and just, you know, thought about how quick I give birth and that we shouldn't fill it halfway, because that's what caused such severe pain with me going down low, trying to get under the water. At 6 weeks, when I started working out again, I was walking and doing like 10,000 steps a day. I was doing some exercises. I ended up in extreme pain. Basically, I couldn't walk. I couldn't put my foot, like imagine, you know, you walk like this. I couldn't even walk like this. I couldn't lift my leg. I should probably show you guys. I couldn't lift my foot up to walk. I couldn't get my foot up past here. I literally couldn't even cross my leg. I had to walk like this just to walk. Something was wrong in my hips, and I had no idea. When I would sit down like this leg was completely forward. It was longer. It looked longer than my other leg. And I was wondering, how is this happening? Like when I sit down, my knees are completely misaligned. I went to the chiropractor, found out that my pelvis was completely cinched up on the left, where it was making my right leg look longer. So you get it? My pelvis completely cinched. I was completely misaligned. So I went to the chiropractor for about 2 months, and he realigned me. Thank God. Even now, when I sit down, my knees are the same. My feet are the same length. Oh my gosh, it's crazy to even say that. He had used his activator to get me aligned again, and I just still was getting discomfort, guys. I was walking and I was still just getting sore and discomfort around my hip area, all around my hip area. So like from here to like around here, I was just getting so much pain. And my husband encouraged me. He's like, maybe it's nerve pain. Like you need to get an MRI. Basically, I saw a doctor and they ended up suggesting an MRI. I got my MRI, and guess what I found out, guys? I found out that I had a labrum tear. A labrum tear is basically a hip tear. And so, guys, this is crazy. Here's your hip, like the cartilage that's like a ring, and then your joint goes into it. So what I found out was that this tore. And where do you think it tore? I would put money on tore during birth. I think that it tore when I was in child's pose, trying to push the baby's head out while my pelvis was basically touching the floor, because I was so low trying to get under the water. I'm so happy that I wasn't crazy. I got this MRI 9 months later, and they still saw a labrum tear. They said, you know, this is something that we see in athletes. Like we see this in people that get hurt playing like crazy, intense sports. And so, you know, I guess I'm an athlete now. We all are, moms, we all are. I realized, oh my gosh, like this, I got this from birth. Is this better? It is. Okay, let's do this for a bit. let's do this for a bit. Now I'm doing physical therapy 2 times a week, and I'm getting better, guys. Praise God. This is something they said that you could need a hip replacement for. But for my case, it's not a huge tear, but you really go off how you feel. Basically, the rules are don't do anything that hurts. So it's not like the most clarity, but one thing I know is I have a tear. And if I, go to physical therapy twice a week, and if I don't annoy it by doing some of the things I was doing, then I should be fine. You know what? I need a thumbnail. Hold on. I tore my what? Huh? This is how I felt. God is not just good when my birth goes as planned. God is not just good when I have a 1-hour labor. God is good all the time. And even in this labrum tear, which I am obviously not happy about, I prefer I didn't tear my hip. But God is still good. I just wanted to share this birth story with you guys. It was an answer to prayer in that it was peaceful and I didn't have to rush and I didn't have to go anywhere. But it also taught me lessons get in the birth pool and practice positions before giving birth. Fill up the birth pool before you push. Make sure that it's all the way to the top, and then give God all the glory, because no matter what, he is good. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to know what other videos you'd like to see from me. Thank you for bearing with this video, even though the lighting's not good. I'm realizing, as a busy mom of 5, guys, I'm not going to be able to get videos up if I'm looking at perfection. But if I can just be okay with what I have, and if it still interests you guys, then I can pump out a lot more videos. So I hope that you guys have a great day. I thank you so much. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are giving birth, or if you've had a labrum tear. I'd love to know how to prevent it. I'm sure you can learn from my story. Baby's just waking, so it's perfect to say goodbye, and I hope that you guys have a great one. I will see you in the next one. Bye.